Merry Christmas, everybody. To all of our visitors and guests, welcome to Immaculate Heart of Mary. I'm Father Tom Miller. To all of our parishioners as well, please, all of you, say a nice little prayer for Tony. He sent me an email early this morning, about 5:30, not feeling well. Hopefully it's not the bug that's circulating around, but not doing well, so please keep him in your prayers. He was scheduled to preach, so you're going to get a short little homily from me. Just a little reflection, nothing too long. I'm going to kind of alternate between the ambo and down where I normally preach to see how that goes. And I'll try to slow down, but I can't promise you too much. But anyway, Merry Christmas again. It's not our last day of Christmas. Tomorrow is. Oddly enough, Christmas season ends on a Monday whenever it falls. The Christmas day falls on a Sunday. Next year will end on a Sunday, the baptism of the Lord, and we'll have a much longer Christmas season. It's all balancing the weeks in our liturgical calendar. Thank God for whoever puts it all together. We come to this feast of the Epiphany, and I'm prompted to ask, how many people back then went about their daily lives completely oblivious to the star? You know, not a lot of people look up at night. It gets dark, people go inside. They're not paying any attention to outside. Dark is not easy for us to deal with. We are creatures of sight, and we imagine all kinds of horrible things that we can't see but can still hear. So it's easy to stay inside and maybe never ever notice that the star's there. Days come and days go, and people are completely oblivious to it. Some noticed the star, and they may have wondered what it meant, but they didn't wonder for long. They noticed that it's different. They hadn't seen it before. Something must have happened, or it must mean something, and they didn't pursue it any further. But others not only saw the star, but they asked what it meant. What was it about? Especially for the Magi, who believed that God would reveal his presence, his will, through signs in creation. And they see the sign and they set out. They discern that the sign, that star is a sign of the new king of Israel, and they're coming to see that king. And then we know the whole story that follows from there. But the star was always there for those who were completely oblivious to it, to those who were somewhat mindful of it, but it really didn't matter much, and to a few who really wanted to know its meaning and sought out the star's meaning and who it led them to. And for you and I, we know that is the same reality in our lives. We have family members, friends, neighbors who are, for the most part, completely oblivious to the gift of faith and the call of faith. They're not bad people. They're good people for the most part, but they're just kind of dense to it. They've signed off on it for whatever reason. It's not an active interest in their heart. Their heart is not stirred to worship. They may pray occasionally, who knows? I mean, prayer is kind of a funny thing to judge. But for the most part, it's not an active expression of faith. Not bad people. We want to be clear of that. They're people we love and pray for. But the signs that are present, and there are more than we imagine, are oblivious. They're oblivious to them. They don't see the signs. No signs. Because for them, like many people in the Bible, if the sign wasn't so overwhelming, so dramatic, most people missed it. If you want to have proof of that, read the prophets. The prophets, for the most part, don't have a lot of signs. Just a few here and there. Their signs are their words, and their words are ignored. For the most part, that's the testimony of the Old Testament. And even when people see big signs, it doesn't seem to be enough to help them remember it. And then we have people who are seeking, who are here occasionally. We had them here a few weeks ago with us on Christmas, and they're trying, and we're really praying for them to wake up. And then there's you and I, and we're not putting ourselves on a pedestal. You've heard me say that before. No pedestals for the living. We're here trying earnestly and honestly to seek God. We believe that God didn't end signs with the ascension of Jesus, that was somehow the last sign that he gave us. Jesus goes in glory, and now we're just holding our breath till he comes back. We believe God today is trying to provide us signs of his presence. 90% of the time, if not higher, those signs do not have a deep meaning other than a very consoling one. I am with you, which Jesus wants to tell us every day. And then I pray we open our hearts and our ears to hear that. Because we need to know that Jesus is with us every day. And those days that are ordinary and no different from the day before, we have lots of those. On those days that are extraordinary, when a life is filled with its richness, and we can thank God. And those days that are scary and overwhelming, when fear or illness or danger makes us feel alone, we want to be able to hear Jesus say, I am with you. And then the other thing he always says is, do not be afraid. Because if he's with us, we need not be afraid. For 2017, my prayer for you, and I hope it's your prayer for me, is that we open our hearts more completely to the signs that are there. There won't be big, great ones. If they are, watch out. Because anytime there's a big sign, God has something more in store for you in the future. But we want to be receptive. The prayer at the altar, which we'll be saying in a moment right before we go into the Eucharistic prayer, humbly confesses, we do not have gold, frankincense, and myrrh to offer. All we have to offer, which is pretty awesome, is he who is proclaimed, sacrificed, and received. That's a powerful prayer. The only thing we have really to offer the Father that's worthy of him is the Son he's given to us. And we come, and then we join our prayers and our petitions and our gratitude to Jesus Christ. He who is proclaimed, sacrificed, we're privileged to share that sacrifice at this Mass, and then received, that he might strengthen us to not only believe that he's present here, but to be receptive, to see those signs when we go home today, when we go about our week, to believe that God is waiting to reveal his presence to us and his deep desire for communion with us.